Pleasure to meet y'all at last. And I've come back with Why Is That? This is a Q&A session that's not like any other because with typical Q&A sessions, they involve how question, why questions, what questions, who questions, where questions, any questions like those that start with those 5 particular words, or others even. But this Q&A session really teaches people to think hard because the question that they need to submit to me should start with these 2 words. Why is that? And for today's Why is that question, we got ourselves 3 people who commented on one of my YouTube videos actually. They all commented on the same video. And they each had the same exact question. And they were submitted to my comment section at different times. Anyhow though, the question that they asked me was, why is that you want to maintain health as well as you can? And the same goes on for the other 2 guys. I'll have them down here as well, though all 3 of them will have themselves a shout out to their channels. And of course, I'm here right now to answer the question to all 3 of those guys for their pleasure. Why is that I want to maintain my health as greatly as I can? Well, you came to the right place for that because my answer to that, well, it's kind of an even longer stretch than many of my other questions, but anyhow, this one here really takes the slice of the cake out from this world, really, because I tend to really bring forth analogies. But anyhow, though, how I want to maintain my health at all times would really be a great goal for me to succeed in. And how I know that for sure is because with many people these days really going on forth with their weight problems and other health problems, including respiratory, circulatory, well, viruses, bacteria, any of that sort that comes into contact with their system, cancers and other stuff. I mean, I'm not even going to rub it in for them when I talk about other serious conditions, including cancers, heart attacks, strokes, any of those that are so common that they really just rule our earth with an iron fist, knowing that they're going to kill anybody. I'm not even going to try to rub it in because they are serious conditions, despite the fact that they're so common around the world. Anyhow, though, how I want to maintain my health at all costs is because not only of these conditions that I want to prevent myself from getting into, but to also stop people from doing what they want to do best, including smoking and huge eating habits and the like. I'd mostly try to encourage them rather than force them to do, as it would be a reference to manipulation, in which manipulation is also pretty serious for many. Mind control is definitely not something that people would want to have in their life, so it would be better for me to not induce a hypnosis on anybody. But instead, to encourage anybody out there who are really seeking help out there, good health even, to try to listen to what I say, because this is a whole new world that we got ourselves in. For 40 years now, we've had ourselves quite the epidemic that has been spreading forth on our earth for that period of time, at least. We've got ourselves obesity, we've got ourselves increase in cancer, other radioactive related conditions, and other really big, well, the list just goes on and on for this particular type of category here, of which I'm not even going to try to rub that in either, because for anybody out there who is watching this episode out here that is, well, currently undergoing some sort of procedure or even just sitting in the hospital room right now, hopefully they have their phone out on me and they're just watching them right now, knowing for a fact that there is going to be some rather big pieces of which that I'm going to have to put together as to why my health would really need to keep itself in a good position. Of which I really want to start discussing the fact that onwards from, well, all the conditions of which that are so common, as well as the ones that a lot of us tend to suffer from nowadays, not just genetic conditions or conditions that we just catch and have for life. My health, however, has really been brought forward to a point of which that I feel much better than I ever have in my entire life, because I have been pretty susceptible to both variations of the flu, the original flu and the bird flu. I have been susceptible to both of those conditions, but I've also been susceptible to a lot of common colds over the last 3 years. And I've had many of them these last 13 to 14 years even. Somewhere around that period of time is really where the flu and the bird flu, the cold and the common cold, any of those conditions that we commonly have from time to time have really started to just really affect my status as a man of health in any way, shape, or form. But other than that, though, I feel like in every session I've had with any of those 4 conditions that I just listed out, I feel much better, of which I tend to question myself as to why I tend to get these conditions from time to time rather than just have them at one point and then just prevent them in the future. Well, this is because even though a lot of people want to wash their hands, there are a lot of people out there who just, well, even though they just come into contact with them and then eventually the person who is sick in, let's say, the office or the classroom would have to leave because he wouldn't want to infect everybody else in the same room of the building, because otherwise that whole virus, or something that it's airborne and contagious especially, would just crawl up some certain orifice in a person's body and just kill blood cells and infect them, and this would make them sick. Of course, this would make anybody sick that comes into contact with this virus or bacteria or any set of germs, any of that sort that just really is just so common around here that none of us can really just vaccinate ourselves from it for right now. However, though, with flu shots, though, a lot of us don't really tend to get flu shots as often anymore, and this is because flu shots tend to be in a limited supply in some areas of the USA. And I can't necessarily blame any of the healthcare organizations or any of the other hospitalities out there that really trust us into having vaccinations every so often. I haven't really had a vaccination for at least a few years with the flu, or the bird flu even. But I would very much want to have one as soon as I can, because there's going to be a lot of stuff to come in the future, not just college or even a full-time job, or even bigger things going on with my YouTube channel and Twitter. But there's also going to be a lot more to that than just any of those 4. I'm going to have to move out of my parents' house. I'm going to have to find somewhere else to go to. I'm probably just most likely going to go up north for a little while. And there's also going to be this point in time in which that eventually, when I'm done living in a certain place, I'm going to have to go somewhere else. Because, well, first of which, this is Wisconsin. And Wisconsin, it definitely has itself quite a share of cold weather. And it usually has cold weather starting from late September all the way up to mid-April. That is when the average time span for cold weather really just starts to bring forth the temperatures that are below 61 degrees Fahrenheit. And again, I cannot necessarily blame any region of which that I live in. I could most likely blame the sun even, or even Earth's rotation, because every night that comes up, these temperatures really start to drop. Anyways, though, why I want to maintain my health, especially though, if you haven't already checked it out, there is a Why Is That episode based on my foot health. And there's also vlog videos that I have made within the last 3 to 4 months about some of the ways I take care of my foot health. I'll put links to any of those videos in the description box below. Scratch that. I'll just put links to every one of those videos in the description box below. So this way you can check out for sure that that is a prime part of my body from the waist down, that is what I really want to take care of the most. And this is because, well, I probably don't want to bring on any spoilers right now, so you can just go ahead and click on any of those one of those links. I know it'll take you straight to those videos, so this way you won't have to hear me talk again in a yap manner. But of course there's going to be much more important stuff to come in this episode that I am going to point out, so I would encourage anybody to just keep on watching this until the very end. Did you get what I said? Okay then. So here we are in a much more important part as to why I need to maintain my health at all times. The reason one is not just because of the foot health, not just because of all of the other stuff that I pointed out in this episode so far, but because we're getting more and more and more and more and more deaths associated with not just even the most common of conditions that we have. We've also gotten ourselves deaths that are associated with many outrageous conditions. Ebola, Giardia, E. coli, bacterial infections like those. Viral infections including HIV and measles, and we've also gotten ourselves a much bigger fair share of conditions of which that we still have to discover. With some of those extremely rare conditions though, we cannot tell for sure how exactly they are going to affect our population in the USA or even anywhere else outside of the USA, including Canada, Mexico, and Ireland, and any other place in the world. But we also cannot deter ourselves away from them as much as we used to, because with people out there that are really living a great life out here, this is because here in the 21st century, the millennial era, which has been around for quite some time, it really brought forth to such a big community worth of people out here who are really paying attention to health, and they're getting themselves the highest quality of health care that they can find. And we've also gotten ourselves another fair share of not just the conditions that we have, or ones that we've known yet we don't have, we've also gotten ourselves a lot of poisons and venoms from spiders or lizards or any other kind of plant or any other kind of animal in that case. We've also gotten ourselves venoms and poisons and other kind of susceptible, deadly bits of life that really just bring them forth. They aren't just conditions of which that we can have, they're also really big dangers that warn us not to go anywhere near them. But of course, we always take the risk, and we would definitely get ourselves in a huge mess. Huge mess that pretty much we'll never be able to clean up, no doubt, because if it's cyanide, if it's poison, if it's venom, if it's any type of poison, venom, or any type of chemical of which that really can kill our system, then there's obviously nothing much that we could do other than just, hope that we can get ourselves an anti-venom or any other kind of cure or treatment that we can use. Other than that though, there's really not much that we can do. We cannot necessarily make ourselves immune to any of the bites or such, because there are some species out there that are continuously evolving to the point at which that they can melt through our clothes and melt through flesh. Especially the golden lancehead snake. If you've not been on the Snake Island, there was a video of Epic Wildlife telling us about it. And I'll put a link to that in the description box below as well, because of course he really points out the details as to how dangerous Snake Island is. But anyhow though, conditions, genetic or otherwise, venoms and poisons, and any other type of condition that we have that is so common we can hardly keep ourselves away from them, any of those would really be a threat to our health overall. And of course, to prevent that, we have to keep ourselves in a steady pace of exercise and diet, and we'd also have to keep ourselves in the best shape possible. That is also the reason why I've started to really bring on forth the diet plan, of which that I really am trying to succeed in, and I'm also really taking charge of it. But anyhow, though, I feel like that's enough for this episode right now. And if you want to see more, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.